on my please. Here we go. We're starting the pitch. Stand by.
Next up is a product to aid a favorite childhood activity.
Hi.
Oh my gosh.
My name is Connor Lewis from St. Louis, Missouri, and I am the founder of Fort. I am seeking $500,000 for 10% of my company.
Wow.
So, Sharks, my story goes something like this. My daughter and I were building pillow forts in our living room, and I found myself going, don't take that beige couch cushion. That's Mom's favorite blanket, not the dining room chairs. And spending all that time cleaning up the mess after she went to bed, it hit me. There's got to be a better way to do this, right? And that is where the idea of Fort came from. Storable, stackable, wipeable, completely modular system to build the ultimate pillow fort. But get this, it's all held together by magnets. And as I like to say, yay, science! So the best part about building a pillow fort is this part, which is
Diving on it.
right.
Diving
is
on
this.
it. Absolutely.
So, Sharks, who wants to save the couch cushions of the world and build the ultimate pillow fort with me?
Oh man, so we never had we relaxed the rules with the pandemic. We relaxed the rules in the house. Like we wouldn't normally let the kids jump on the couch or build forts or like act like as if it's a jungle gym or whatever. But, during the winter months, especially through the pandemic, the kids needed to get some form of something moving. They needed to exert some kind of energy. So, yeah, I get it. Look, I've already gone through their website. I'm going to link that up here at the end of the video and their social media if you want to go through that with me. But man, I love the idea in theory, but it's another thing. Like I just from a toys taking over the area, they just take over everything, and having like a couch that is also like for the kids that's also meant to be taken apart, like that. I mean, it's cool. It is neat. I don't know. It's just another thing though that you gotta have the space for, and wait till you hear the price. So hopefully their metrics all are make sense and all that. I also am not sure if they've actually shipped yet because some of the comments that we were seeing during the preview seemed to suggest like people hadn't gotten their shipments from a Kickstarter. So we'll see if that gets addressed here.
Good job. I think you win the points for the world's best dad, that's for sure. But like, what is your background? How did you come up with it?
So I was working in marketing, and unfortunately I lost my job during COVID in April of last year. I was wondering, like, what am I going to do with my life? I had always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but there was just this like huge fear that I wouldn't be able to take care of everybody. And my wife has a really good corporate job. She's a CPA. And I had just enough money from severance. I sold my car, and I had this idea for a magnetic pillow fort. Completely focused on direct to consumer. I ended up taking a business partner who owns 5% of the company right now. He has put in all the operational equity. He has the opportunity to buy in up to 40% based on revenue targets.
Wow. What triggers that?
Revenue targets, but hold on, let me get to the price. So the price right now currently is $499 for this full set right here you see on the far right. 5 cushions, yes, and 124 magnets.
$500?
That's a lot of money.
That was one of the biggest challenges we had early on. So we launched on Kickstarter. It absolutely is. You're absolutely right.
Look, furniture is expensive as a whole, right? I mean, one of my favorite examples is Lovesac. I had gotten a Lovesac back in like 2003 after I had seen them at a LAN party that I was at. I was like, I need this in my life, and I bought a 6-foot Lovesac back in like 2003. I had that for years and years and years and years. Eventually bought some Jack Sacks for the theater room. I don't know, maybe 8 years ago or something like that. And it's great, right? But Lovesac, they transformed not just into these giant beanbag chairs full of foam, but they also make furniture, and their furniture is like super customizable and stuff. But it seemed pretty expensive as a whole. When you're trying to talk about functional furniture, I feel like for $500, it's maybe not enough pieces there, and that's what I was alluding to earlier. Like it's man, it's tough. It's an expensive endeavor for your kids, and it definitely, as the Sharks are showing, it's a sore point, right? Getting a $500 couch for the kids that they will eventually outgrow that's a big hurdle to overcome.
So we launched on Kickstarter in January 2021. My claim to fame is I sold $2 million of products in 10 hours.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
$2 million in 10 hours. Ended up doing 3.1 for the whole campaign. We've done 4.5 to date, year to
And it
date.
was at that price, at $4.99?
No, our average purchase price was $269.
Wow.
Have you delivered on the Kickstarter?
We're delivering right now. I have about 400 units going out today. Let me talk about the COGS for a little bit. So when we launched, like I mentioned, the average price with shipping included was around $269. My original COGS were around right at $200 landed, and then added a $50 shipping charge. The strategy was, first of all, I wanted to be able to see if I could actually sell this, right? I knew it would be more expensive than the competitors. The magnets alone cost $60 a unit.
Right, they're hugely expensive.
Why aren't you using Velcro like everybody else?
All right, hold on. The Velcro is not a bad idea, but maybe, okay. If you sell something at a discounted rate and you haven't necessarily been able to sell it at the price in which it's supposed to, the market is only going to bear so much. I was talking to Al, who is an avid watcher of this channel. What's up, Al? And we were talking, I don't know, earlier this week, I think back on like Monday. And that's one of the things. So he has an invention, just got patent for it and all that. But when he told me like, I think I can sell this for like $45 or so. I'm like, well, you can sell it for what the market can bear. Hopefully your costs can be low enough so that you can maybe get that fluctuated, and maybe it's $45, maybe it's $20, maybe it's $25. But if you're only if your biggest, if you're selling it out the door at $269 and your cost, everything, shipping included, is $250, it's going to take you, you're just not going to be able to make it. You're not going to be able to make it. So this is a classic example of like, we can get those sales, but we're not actually gaining customers. And the other thing is, if they buy one, will they buy two? Maybe not, especially at $500. Like, I think it's a real tough sell to get $500, even at $269. But because, I mean, you think, I don't know what like, we have like two of those like fold out kid couches that were probably like $20. I mean, obviously you can't make a fort from them and all that, and they don't have magnets in them, but like, I could buy a whole bunch of those and they could have like a whole fort room going on, for that kind of money. So it's that's tough. So you can sell something, but if you're not selling it at the price in which you need to be selling in order to make a profit, to justify everything that you're doing, it might not be a thing. So I'm, a real good long-term plan here.
Because we ran a lot of surveys, and parents unanimously hate Velcro.
Yeah,
So what we did was we sold at a loss for the first day. And
At $269.
Yeah, with shipping included,
I'll tell you what
$269.
parents really hate is $500.
Kevin, let him finish.
Tell us your thought process.
Yeah.
No. Parents love $500, and that's why you might find that they hold on to the $500.
I realized was that shipping, obviously, international freight, not only that, but of course this product is huge to ship. When I realized how high volume I was selling, I ended up selling almost 13,000 units at Kickstarter. It's unbelievable, right? You do like $2 million, the numbers are rolling all day, right? And I let codependency set the price and set what the customer wanted. After I realized I oversold the first day, I was like, I have to work really hard to sell the rest of this campaign, and I didn't sell enough to compensate the cost.
What's important is the people out there that joined into your Kickstarter, right? They were excited to get the product. You let them dictate the price, but then you had to go back to the factories, you had to figure out the shipping, and you had to say, oh my God, how do I do this for $269?
Yeah, we realized we were in the hole. We didn't know how big the hole was, so we started selling at a high price point. We sold $250,000 in another 24 hours, right? And this is in May, a few hours.
You did.
Months after.
What price?
$499.
So doubling the price actually didn't hurt you, you're saying?
No, we've been able to, and we've continued selling. Now, we're selling a product that no one has gotten yet. We're currently shipping out our Kickstarter. I have 17,000 units coming from overseas right now.
And no one has received the product.
So it's never shipped in yet.
Listen, I have a couple of big concerns here. Now,
Yeah, I hold on, Emma. Look, that, and this has come up plenty of times. When customer, you really, not only do you not have a foreseeable future with something if you aren't making enough profit to be able to like even just market the product and continue to gain traction, as well as maybe some accessory products. I think that might be one of the things where you have the base product and it's big, it's heavy, but like you start adding those accessories. We saw this with that what's the beach chair from a couple weeks ago, sunrise sunset chairs, Sunflow, I think it was Sunflow. That, it's like, okay, so you have the chair, but then you also have all these accessories, and when you do that, those accessories have a higher profit margin, they add to the overall bill, and then it kind of softens that that blow when you're just like giving, basically giving it away to get market share, which in this case is not a consumable. So they're, are they going to come back? Maybe if you have another product or you have some accessories to go with it, but it's a real tough, it's a real tough thing to be able to scale up, because like you have a customer, but are you going to have a customer for life? That's a hard thing to say. And now adding that you're just getting, basically your beta product or alpha product, or I guess your beta product, your first, Gen 1 out into people's hands, like they're going to find things that work or don't work, like where he tried to like get the magnets to stick to each other and they didn't. And, if I spent $500 on something and then I see that the magnets aren't doing what they were really supposed to be doing, at least in most cases, or even like, over 30%, like 30 to 40% of the time, they're not even sticking or not working, then I'm going to be mighty not happy with that. And you're going to end up having some pretty unhappy people. And what happens when you have unhappy people? They tell 7 people. When they're happy, they tell 2 or 3.
the one is that you don't know if this is going to work, right? You've got an enormous amount of orders sitting there. Nobody has the product yet. You don't know what the customer feedback is, if people love it, what your returns are going to be.
I mean, that is a huge concern right now, right?
The good news is you have their money first.
I do. And so this is where we get to like the international freight challenge. The last 30 days, we've had great suppliers. I have an incredible 3PL I'm working with. They've all like totally gone to bat for us. And I've found myself like staring at the numbers and being like, oh, this is bad.
It's a thing.
I'm assuming you've burnt a lot of cash.
Incredible.
How much?
Basically all of it.
All of it.
Yeah. So I wouldn't. He's talking about international shipping. I mean, I wouldn't even unless most of my orders are coming from international. I wouldn't even be shipping international. Just the cost is just enormous. Yeah, I don't know. I what I'd like to know is what the cost of the magnets are in relation to the rest of the couch thing, because I think it's a great idea. I don't think that it maybe necessarily like Velcro could work, but even if it's just like little bits of Velcro to kind of give it shape, right? So you can keep shape. It doesn't have to be like Velcro as in like a third of it is covered in Velcro. I think that you could easily, because the other thing that worries me though is how heavy are those pillows? And if kids start swinging the pillows and you got magnets in them, depending how big those magnets are, you might end up with a problem there.
Selling yourself out of business.
It could be put that way, certainly. I mean, it's a really tough situation, right?
It is a tough situation.
You're so jovial.
Yeah, but this is super hard. I mean, like yesterday, my wife literally like sat on the steps in our house and cried.
Oh no!
Because like this is hard. You all have done this.
Yeah, super hard.
You've done this.
You're going to figure things out. Like you're that person who's not going to crumble. You're going to figure it out. But at least you're being really honest with us about what's happened.
I want to understand a little.
And he's smiling through it. It's so hard to find people. Look, people tell me I'm a super positive person. I would say I'm a super positive realist. I love to look on the bright side. I love that he's standing there. He's not. I mean, look, people laugh and smile when they're nervous, right? And obviously, Connor, you're nervous, right? Because this is this is taking you down a road where, look, you can't always quantitate everything in dollars, right? Sometimes you have to quantitate things in education, experience. Like, there's things that you're learning that like other people aren't going to necessarily, get to learn, regardless of what school you went to or whatever, right? These are the real, this is some hard knock stuff here. And it's a shame that it happens sometimes to some of the nicest people out there. So it pains my heart to see that, because I wish Connor had watched. I wish you had watched this channel. Well, it didn't. Well, it did exist, but it was still fairly new at the time. This channel, when you launched your Kickstarter, but if you had realized that like you can't run that close to the sun when you're talking about cost and sales. I mean, if Connor had reached out to me, I'd be like, yeah, magnets got to go, man. Like, if people want this, people will probably want it a lot more at like 40, 50 bucks, $60, maybe, 100, 120 bucks. And you don't have the magnets, you don't have the cost, and you can actually make a profit, and I think at the end of the day, that's what's going to matter the most. Yeah, it breaks my heart.
A bit more about your partner. You mentioned you brought a partner in for 5%.
And more importantly, what triggers the 40%?
He will get 40% if he and his team are helping us get to $30 million in revenue.
Gross
In
revenue.
growth?
Gross
Yes.
sales.
Yes.
What is it that he's technically doing?
So he has the relationship with his supplier that he's done tens of millions of dollars
So
with.
he works with the factory.
Yep.
Okay.
He has full marketing team, ad buyers, and we both agree that this hole that I have sunk us into, we can be overcome in the next few months.
Let me take a stab at this.
Hold on. Gross revenue is what puts you in this problem. And this is such a great lesson for entrepreneurs, super entrepreneurs, to learn, right? You could do $10 million, but if you're spending $9.8 million to do the 10, you ain't got nothing, right? What you have is a whole lot of experiences and probably a really good sales team going on, and a potentially good product and all that. But if it's only as good as if what people are willing to pay for it, and if they're not willing to pay, at a clip where you're making 60 to 80% on that product, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
All right. I see a whole bunch of problems. I'm sorry. I mean, first of all, your cost of goods are way too high. I don't understand why in the world you'd spend $60 on magnets when Velcro's just fine.
Oh,
I don't buy
$60
the
for
story that
magnets?
parents can't
Okay.
deal with Velcro. Giving away 40% to somebody for no cash, which is your number one problem, makes absolutely no sense to me. I'm sorry, Connor. I'm out.
That's fair.
Connor,
And you know what? And he didn't even skewer him for the $5 million valuation, which, when your company isn't making, profit, it's not really worth that. It's not. It's just not.
Case for what not to do as an entrepreneur, right? People can learn a lot from your experience. And look, I think you can survive this. It's not bad that you worked with somebody else who didn't provide cash, right? Because expertise costs you one way or another.
Sure.
So getting their expertise is fine. But the trigger for their 40% being set to sales means that if any one of us invest, the minute we close the deal and we help you get to 30 million, we're diluted by 40% immediately. So for those reasons, I'm out.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it.
Connor, this is just not
difficult.
a proven business yet. You've got all the sales, but you might have a 50% return rate, and we just don't know that yet. It's just not an investable opportunity for me, so I'm
I
out.
appreciate that, Emmett. Yeah, so I mean, it's obviously a really challenging situation.
At least you were honest about it.
I have to be, right?
Well,
I can't.
no,
It's not
you
something I
have
can
to
hide.
be. I mean, you're such a good person. I can tell. I would have been in on you in a heartbeat,
Yeah,
instantly.
I appreciate that.
But now you've found someone else, it seems, that's trying to get you out of the hole. So I think you have a partner in there right now that's doing a lot of the things that I would have tried to do.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I'm out.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So
Kinda
there's the
right.
story, you all.
There's still Robert.
You know,
Still Robert.
I think you have a level of humility
Yeah.
that really comes through.
Thanks.
And I think people always think to be a great entrepreneur, you have to be arrogant, you have to be full of yourself. It's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
You've got to learn in life all the time. We're all learning. I mean, I love that. And I love the product. I just, like, I'm trying to talk myself into it.
Sure. It's a tough sell. It absolutely is.
And it's a tough sell because he has to walk out with 500,000. And at 500,000, I mean, I don't know. I mean, 50%, 40%, 50%. I mean, he's going to be left with like nothing at that point.
Connor, don't tell him what's wrong with it.
But never put yourself down. Never, ever do that.
Okay.
Always believe in yourself, despite the challenge.
Robert, you can solve this problem with $500,000. You get 10%.
I wish it was less money because I'd love to believe and invest in you, but it's can't get there for 500,000. I'm sorry, I'm out.
That's okay. I appreciate you all. This has been an
Good luck,
absolute
Connor.
honor.
Oh, good luck,
It's been a
Connor.
wonderful learning experience for me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Bye.
Than I thought it would be. I think they saw me, they respected what I did, and they saw the very real issues that I kind of created. So I think I'm okay with that, you know?
And I very much hope that Connor does. Connor, I would love for you to reach out. I'd love to have a conversation. I have a feeling I will be hearing from you down in the comments below. Like Leomar says, as someone who's exploring the possibility of going the super entrepreneurship road, I learn a lot from your videos, Joe. Please don't stop sending love from the Philippines. Well, I greatly appreciate you watching and learning with us. I know I'm learning every week, and I hope that you right now are learning with us alongside of us. So I'll see you if you want to check out their website, Fort's website, and social media with me up here. If not, I'll see you in the video down below. Take care and go be super.